All right, here it is. The song is Untitled number 7, which is my only untitled song, and it's a word song. The words go here. They're the story for our song. Won't you look over, dear, and tell me what the hell is wrong? And make something up. Make up a good lie. I love you when you smile, wild burning eyes. Under a dark red moon, bloodlet night, you hold my hand, 2 squeezes tight. So go on and make it up. Make up that good lie. I love your smile, wild burning eyes. Adventure awaits is what it said.
Wait, one moment.
I thought it said adventure begins here.
Okay.
All right, I don't know for sure where Kitty is, but I have to guess probably the Whale Shark Tunnel. There he is. Are you okay in there, cooling off?
Clear.
You don't know how lucky you are, Kitty. So I saw this little dog. He was in the road, and the heat had gotten to him. He was very skinny. It looked like he was, you know, that was the end of it. But I got out of the car, and I coached him over by the bridge so he would try to run to the bridge because it didn't look like he was going to make it. The other cars probably would have hit him. But I watched him make it to the bridge. But it was pretty intense, and he didn't look good. He was so skinny, you know, and the heat was running on him. He was like a lap dog. Either he got away or he had been like a lap dog, a small dog. He was light color, you know, and he was running over there, I guess off of 820, and it was pretty sad. I had to stop and get out. It was too much. And I let him over, well, I tried to get him to go over to the bridge, but I don't know if he's gonna make it. Just say a prayer for him, sweetie, okay? You okay, Kitty? You got your bowl? Everything's okay? Got the Whale Shark Tunnel? All right. Then you've got your scratch and post with the other scratch and cuddle. And you got your cat condo. All right?
Bye, Kitty. Love you.
You're good to go.
Good to go. Awesome.
All right.
You only gave me 1 day written on the schedule this week. And then it threw me on tonight.
I don't know.
Kind of have a feeling, you know, the night manager might be like, oh, I don't
It's Untitled 7, also known as Wild Burning Eyes.
No. Hold on real quick. Somebody's doing this. Right when I smile, that's funny.
House of Blades. If you're gonna get it made, get it at the House of Blades. About 328 on the gas right here. So I got cheap refills too.
I really should probably choose tea, but
song went. Kiss me on my mouth. Your love is better than wine, and wine is all I have. So your love better be mine. Kiss me on my mouth. Your love is better than wine, and wine is all I have. So your love better be mine. It's old house song. You know, you had techno, like New Order. Whoever knows the author of that song, or the one that wrote that song, let me know. It was house music. It went, kiss me on my mouth. Your love is better than wine, and wine is all I have. And your love better be mine. They're all the way from Florida. Note to screenplay, Deep on Ellum, about the Deep Ellum scene of the early 90s, late 80s. We're talking 1989 at the latest, or the earliest, and 1990 at the latest, maybe. We're talking like pretty much around that time. I'd have to go back and check what it says in the script, but regardless, there's a song called Kiss Me. It's by Stephen Duffy, because, you know, kiss me on my mouth. Your love is better than wine, and wine is all I have. So your love better be mine. Anyway, that was a big song back in the time we were doing house music. We were dancing to it. We would dance until the sun would come up. So we would get there sometimes 9 o'clock, and then we would leave at 9 in the morning. So we would be there for 12 hours dancing. Either until the strychnine wore off from the LSD, or until, well, we sweated a lot of it out. If we were frying, in a lot of cases we were. Ecstasy I only did a few times, but it was mostly the LSD thing. Regardless, that song was very popular, and Deep Ellum was a very hot scene at the time, very dangerous too to be there. Now this was not too long after when Nirvana showed up and Kurt Cobain got assaulted, okay? So we would dance like to this song all the time, and other songs, but we would be like sweaty and dressed in 1990s like Smiths fan clothing. Now when it first started on Deep on Ellum, when we would go there, we first started probably freshman year in high school. So this was 89 maybe. I graduated in 93, but I graduated a year late. But anyway, regardless, maybe 88, maybe 89, 1989. Now, the kids would be covered in sweat, and we had this place called Level 5, which was the West End of Dallas. Level 5 was on the 5th level of this building. It's still there today. That building is still there. I believe it's vacant. And it's the 5th level. It would be covered in fog, and these kids would be dressed up in Cure shirts with goth, you know, very goth. Think of Michael and Jessica and Grim Life Collective. But they were, you know, there wasn't a lot of piercings as much as now. But there were some, but mostly not. It was mostly just lots of hair, very Robert Smith fan, very Cure. And the Cure would play, and the Smiths, they'd play the Smiths, of course, and we would dance until the morning time. And Stephen Duffy's song, Stephen Duffy, his song Kiss Me was kind of a theme song to it all. It was always playing. I just remember it. It's kind of a dorky song a little bit, but yet there is an aspect to it. Like showing Pearl Jam. Pearl Jam wasn't popular there at the time, so I don't want to mix things. I don't want you to get confused. But regardless, it was a time of lots of sweat, lots of Cure shirts, you know, Joy Division shirts, right? And the goth was just starting to become something. So goth was barely in the air. Everyone smoked clove cigarettes. Which is not, you don't want to do that at all. It'll tear a hole in your lung. Clove cigarettes at Level 5. Now, Level 5 transitioned to what's called Industry. Industry was on the other side of town, not too far, right down the street from Bomb Factory. This is when the Bomb Factory had no central air. You had to go in and buy if you bring your own beer or whatever it was. I saw Fugazi there. Now, that's in the script too. I forgot about Stephen Duffy's song. That's why I'm talking about this. It was the Kiss Me song. Now, also on the other side, that was Industry. Now, in the middle, between Industry and West Side, was a place called the Stark Club. I always get it mixed up. It's gone now. Supposedly there was rumor David Bowie had been there, Tina Turner, I think, or that's how she goes to Tina Turner. There were supposed to be like famous appearances by certain people. Andy Warhol, I heard that. I don't know if that's true though. I don't believe that one, but I think Bowie might have. Mick Jagger supposedly was there. There was like photos, but this was like a club. It was like a business suit club kind of thing, you know. There'd be businessmen in there, and ecstasy was given out for free when Stark Club was present, you know, when it first opened, when it was at its high life, when it first opened in the mid 80s to late 80s. It was given out free, and you were to take ecstasy, you know, right when you walked in the door. And it was not illegal. It was experimental drug. It was they thought it was kind of like a pharmaceutical mental health drug, you know, a psychology, or I mean not psychology, psychiatry drug. Not psychology, that's where you give hugs only. Psychiatry, you know, it was a pharmaceutical drug for mental health, okay? Now it's, you know, illegal, but back then it was given out for free behind the bar, usually. They just passed it out, and then they started selling it. By the time we were there in the late 80s and 90s, it was not legal, and it was sold. And many fights and things like that broke out because of that drug. It was a pretty intense time. But that song would play, and also, of course, New Order's Love Triangle. That was another theme song. I was probably a little afraid to put these songs in the script, so I'm going to have to go back and just add these songs and moments of dancing, which is kind of a lot about what the script is about. Okay? All right. So that's a little note for Deep on Ellen. We're all the way from California. Total Remodel and Paint, 817-966-0925, 817-966-0925. Okay, so you know that I've written all this crazy stuff. I wrote a short story, or it was a novella, called Catnappers, which is about my junior high year. I wrote Deep on Ellen, which is about my high school years. I wrote Love and War, which is a fictional account of a guy that's on the Appalachian Trail remembering the times of war when he was a POW and escaped being beheaded and came back to be with his wife and his kids and stuff. And that's called Love and War. I sent that to an actor in Los Angeles, but it's very crazy. It's like Johnny Cash songs, all kinds of craziness. Okay, so Grace is the werewolf movie that's about vloggers, that these vloggers get killed by this werewolf, and the hero comes in from the UK who's a werewolf hunter and teams up with a Portlandia guy that's kind of an Oreo slash postmodern hippie with a silver grill that makes these silver weaponry. A really weird kind of guy. And then they go to a fictional town called Barksville to hunt down this werewolf. And they spy on this mixed martial artist that they think is a werewolf named Grace. And his wife is named Rainey Love, who's an ex-rock star. And the werewolf is really Rainey Love. Okay, so that one I wrote, and that one's kind of, I'm kind of dealing with that for October. Now I have a new idea that's come about, and it's about a secret rideshare driver. Maybe you could say he's like a secret Uber driver or something. That basically, let's put it like a gig economy person. Okay, a person that's in the gig economy falls in love with a fast food worker. Don't have the names yet. I don't know the names of the characters yet. And they try to move up a notch because the gig economy guy owes lots of money in child support and needs to move up and make six figures so that he can pay all his debts. And she, well, she's kind of a mystery. And he considers her his wife, and they have a show, an online show on a platform. You know, they're trying to do that kind of thing. You know, these people that have been couples and they've gone off onto YouTube and they've gone off and they've become very successful and have done very well. It's kind of a little bit about that. So the name of it, I think it's called, the name of the movie that's coming upon me, I think it's called Your Love with Paid Training. or Your Love with Paid Training. Yeah, I think that's the working title. It's a love story. Your Love with Paid Training. So it's set in current day, you know. Kind of about what's going on with me now. Eventually, hopefully, I'll find pen to paper and dialogue will start to come about. Dialogue it's not difficult for me to come up with dialogue if it's fictional, but real dialogue, stuff that has been said, you have to go and write it down like you would a song. Oh yeah, and also the guy in the gig economy, he's also kind of like a side musician too, and writes these songs together. They try to like kind of start a band too, kind of thing, you know. And they might like watch Rick Beato, you know. I always throw YouTube in all my ideas. If I ever get permission to make my own movie, there'd be a YouTube reference in somewhere along the line, because of how my life is. Anyway, we're headed off. What's weird about the Deep on Ellen is my friends would always say, you know, I always say, I feel like I'm in a movie. And they'd say, well, your life is a movie, Cole. They'd always tell me this all the time. They'd say, you know, you are in a movie, Cole. That's what they'd always say. And like, we didn't have a camera anywhere around. I was like, no, not exactly. Not technically. You know, I didn't say that kind of stuff. I just pretended like we were in a movie, even though there was, you know, no camera around. As we listened to Stephen Duffy's Kiss Me. Kiss me on my mind. Keep thinking of that dog. Just running and running and running. Couldn't find, I don't know, I need water. What? You know, it's gonna haunt me. I just felt like if I grabbed him, he'd bite me, you know, because I get scared. He might, if he make it under that bridge, you know, he might find that school in that neighborhood there. He'd be able to find water there and get through the night. And then eventually maybe someone would rescue him. But he was so dangerously close to the highway and also to the passage road. But he was mostly on the passage road, so they don't go that quick there. But he made it under the bridge. I just don't know where he would go from there. Hopefully to the school, because there's a school over there. And then maybe find a puddle of water. These things stay with me, you know. Images of a lost dog. There's a great movie though. It's called White God. It's about dogs running around like that. I didn't get to see it though. I want to see it. I hear it's genius. White God. Check it out. It's Mike from Syracuse, New York. It's coming in. To visit friends and I guess maybe family. But it was
I-35W North. You are on the fastest route. You will arrive at 11:31 p.m.
So, heck of a ride. So the 1 hour and 37-minute ride. Actually, had me go one direction. Pretty cool guy. Had a little bit of trouble in New York, but his name is Mike. He's pretty cool. I gave him all my information. Talked to him about Ash Cole, my writer site, my book, Dog's Night Out, which I don't really talk about a whole lot. This book, kind of a fictional book about revolution. And we talked everything from like time travel to aliens to flat Earth's theory to dark matter to he's a conspiracy theorist. So he believes that the Earth is flat. I don't completely believe that, but that's what he believes. And he also believes in black ice theory, or whatever known as black ice. And it was a really good long drive. You know, a lot of this stuff I wanted to film a lot of stuff, but I usually don't do that when I'm doing that. And the whole thing took about an hour and 37 minutes. We're right in Crawford, so not too far from Waco. But is a cool guy. I also talked to him about my political, aspect of stuff, and I kind of hinted to him that maybe one day I might run for office, as in, presidency and stuff. I didn't really mention presidency, but I just said run for office. It doesn't necessarily have to be the president. I like the stuff that Hamilton did, with the feudal system, and my theory about, going into utopia and not relying on money as a country, but relying on people's passions. He's a really cool guy. I learned a whole lot from him. Of course, New York, he's from Syracuse, New York. So New York has different laws and theories, and we talked a lot about gun control, and I talked to him about police reform and how I think some police should be able to have guns and then some shouldn't, and that we should have SWAT, but not really worry about the beat officer always having to use his gun, and had some theories about police reform. And then, I'm not going to talk a lot about Biden, but Biden was part of the conversation, and Trump was part of the conversation, and theories about that. We talked about JFK, the assassination of JFK being a big conspiracy. He believes that. I'm starting to kind of start believing that to myself, because to me, the photo of Oswald holding the Italian sniper rifle and having, the documents for registration, to me is it's a little shaky. It's just, people usually don't take photos like that. And then, we talked a lot about conspiracy. There's a lot of conspiracy theory talking. He talked a lot about GMOs, how GMOs are killing people and making people kind of stupid. I kind of agree with some of that. Don't eat too much McDonald's kind of stuff. Just a lot of, he's a cool dude. He's a cool dude. I know my friend Bobby, he had written a book about my prom date's a felon. No, not a book, I'm sorry, it was a play. It was a play, yeah. Bobby Kenningston out in Maine, the Center Theater. I just kind of want to throw that in there, but yeah, he's a cool dude. He's a cool dude. He has children. I have children too. We talk about our sons and stuff like that. I really enjoyed the conspiracy theory talk. And I'm gonna do a vlog. Hopefully, if I remember, I'm gonna told Linda about it. But he said to do this, to talk about how GMOs are kind of killing. To take an organic tomato and then take a regular tomato and put them in a jar of salt water. And he said literally the regular tomato will start swimming around. So I want to do this in a vlog. I told him I was going to call it Mike's theory about how GMOs are like killing people. Mike's tomato test. So you take a tomato, you put it in salt water, whether it be organic or whether it be a regular GMO tomato, because they're mutated tomatoes. GMO is it's like a genetically modified organic thing or whatever, whatever you want to call it. So he thinks that the reason why Einstein was so intelligent, we talked a little about E equals MC squared, and I told him about time travel a little bit, because I'm one that believes in time travel. But he was saying that the reason why Einstein was so intelligent we got lightning on the horizon over here, is because there weren't as many GMOs in his food. So Einstein got healthier food. Great guy. I really enjoyed it. A lot to talk about. We do think a lot of legal aspects of, you know, the government need to be reformed. You know, what I told him there, that's Shiloh down that way if you go down to Shiloh. But I told him, I said, you know, well, look at John Bunyan. He was a writer. He wrote in the 1660s. He was arrested for a stupid law, the 5 mile rule, where he went 5 miles beyond the Church of England, and then he prophesied or he evangelized, and they arrested him for the 5 mile rule. And so a lot of laws have been reformed, you know, and so he's right about that. You know, we're both kind of that. We want things to be reformed. To be reformed, you know, Reformation. I would consider them definitely part of the Reformation theory, or the Reformation, just part of the Reformation, you know. Talk a lot about God and Paul, the Bible, Jesus. Paul was a murderer and was a criminal, the chief of sinners, and how he went back to the Pharisees and Sadducees and the Hebrews and Israel and talked to them about how Jesus was the way, you know. He didn't say he was real religious, but there was a child of God there. But he didn't say he was real religious, but he did go to Living Water Church when he was younger, and there was a pastor and a sister that helped him, you know, when he was young, when he was younger. Anyway, this one's dedicated to Mike. Thanks so much, Mike. And we're gonna go. Have to go get Linda. Or I'm gonna have to. Just to let you know that I'm in Crawford. I'm leaving Crawford, Texas. Headed to this highway right over here. These long Texas drives. Texas is like a country. It's huge. It is a very large state. So this is a very reliable. I don't want to relate everything to money. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I was telling them about, you know, my whole theory about how Hamilton changed the way people looked at money because of the federal banks and everything, the way it was dispersed, okay? What I'm trying to say is change the hearts of man so that we're not relying as a money source to judge someone, right? And he agreed that a lot of the poor are the ones that are a target of being locked up and almost imprisonment because of their poverty-stricken state or because they're poor. So I don't want to relate everything to money, okay? I don't want to do that. So I don't want to sit there and say that I do this for that purpose alone. But you have to realize, oh wow, check this out. That is something else. That's for their Halloween thing. That's a little spooky. Now this is how horror films begin. Quoting the great A.D.W.C. But, what was I talking about? Okay, I was doing the whole Hamilton thing. I'm in the middle of... Now, I didn't see anybody with a leather face or Texas chainsaw, kind of anything like that. But if I did, I certainly would get that thing on camera. You know, you get out here in the middle of Texas, you do have sometimes horror films, or sometimes kind of can get on your mind. But this is South 6. Sorry about that. South 6 is what I meant to say. Is what I'm on right now. South 6. Kind of see it right here. There's deer blinds over that way. If anything comes up, I'll let you know, for the part of the show. I know you probably are laughing a little bit. Remember, I will leave my PayPal with the QR. So if you want to be a channel supporter, do so. You know, even if it's, it's whatever you want to do. I just like the fact that people give, I pay. I'm going to go pay when I see Killers of the Flower Moon, if Linda lets me. It's coming out, I think October. I want to go to the shops at Clear Fork to see it. This looks like some craziness over here. What in the world is that? It looks like fireworks thing, because we were right past the 4th of July not very long ago. But yeah, I want to see Killers of the Flower Moon. It's Martin Scorsese's genius. They may have it at the shops at Clear Fork. If I make it back, I'm sure I probably will. And I want to see that. I think it'd be cool. It'd be cool to see. Cool. And I haven't been to that theater either. I've only been on the outside of it. Cool. All right. But we talked about Hollywood. I talked about Pure Flix and how we've got a whole movement of the Jesus movement, you know, where people are allowed to evangelize in Hollywood, and they're allowed to do it through making movies. Like Alex Kendrick kind of started a lot of that and everything. And there's other filmmakers too that are dedicating their life to even evangelical movies, you know, and Pure Flix. We talked a little bit about that. Now, I'm not saying Killers of the Flower Moon is certainly anything that's like that. I'm not saying it's a faith-based film, but Scorsese almost became a priest. So he was going to become a priest, you know, and he became a filmmaker. But there is always something a little bit evangelical or something of that nature in his work, in a way. And Killers of the Flower Moon is about the Osage community, the Osage Native American nation, and how they were murdered by government officials, basically lawmen, because they were on top of a wealth that was beyond measure. That's oil. They were living on an ocean of oil, and they were killed and murdered for the riches. And even some of the wives were befriended by lawmen so that they would be able to inherit this wealth for the government. So I'm not saying Scorsese is completely anti-government, but he probably is a little bit, especially being, you know, almost a priest. And this is like a big thing, and I talked to him about that. He thought it was pretty cool, you know, that's being exposed. Because the Native Americans, you know, just because of their nation and because they were once poverty-stricken, and then they came across the oil, and they, you know, it's a good warning film to keep an eye on people that may go from rags to riches. And if someone would try to take advantage of that, and which the government did in the book, I've read only the sample because I'm just kind of budgeting. But I read the sample a few times and made a lot of notes and stuff, and you know, mental notes, I guess you could say. But I was also writing something too that was interesting, and I was studying two different things. But I did read Killers of the Flower Moon sample, you know, and it's a tough book to fathom that this really did happen. I don't know all the details of it. I don't want to get into all the characters' names. We'll get into that when we do a review. But you know, Scorsese has always been a life-changing experience. You know, he's always hit the mark when it comes to executing a film, and not just for entertainment, but from the heart. You know, he dedicated his entire life to it. You know, it was, you know, something that he wanted to master, and it certainly has. All his work, everything from Taxi Driver all the way to Killers, which I haven't seen Killers of the Flower Moon yet, but I know that it's going to be awesome. But anyway, all right, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to have a lot to edit, so I don't want to talk too much. We talked for about, I don't know, nearly 2 hours. This is Lake Waco. So this actually has been vlogged by Escaping the Mouse, Breck Roll. He has vlogged Lake Waco before. He's somewhere around here. He never really messages me. I did talk to him on a live stream, and I do watch his show quite often. He has 2 cats, Bites and Nibbles, and he does a cooking show as well. And he also does a home fixer-upper, and he also does a haunted house. He'll be doing probably a haunted house one this year. I think it's Silo of Screams is usually what he participates in. He also knows Jordan the Lion, who's really big in the, and probably was one of the main reasons I've got a little bit of attention on YouTube. Jordan the Lion was one of the reasons. I did a mini doc of Jordan that got a lot of attention. I even did a little mini doc of Breck Roll too, Escaping the Mouse. He knew that I had done that. But yeah, he's out here in Waco. That's where we are. He probably, if he watches the show, oh, I got a message. I'll talk to you guys in a minute.